Okay, thank you everyone for joining us. We are about to start the live stream and we will get started shortly after that, so please stand by. Okay, if all of the panelists, if you could turn your cameras on, that would be great. And Officer Baldonado, if we could do a quick audio check with you before we get started. Awesome. He might still be tuning in, but Brian, I'm going to turn it over to you. We're recording and ready to get started.
Thank you, Jennifer. And let me first thank all of our panelists who are here with us this morning, as well as the public who I see the numbers are increasing as we move along in time. Let me welcome you all to this virtual conference on street takeovers, sponsored by the Sheriff Civilian Oversight Commission. Briefly, the Sheriff Civilian Oversight Commission was established in 2016 to provide oversight to the LA County Sheriff's Department, as well as to increase their level of transparency, accountability, and to serve as a bridge between the community and the Sheriff's Department. We've had a number of these sessions over the years, ranging from how we deal with victims to the potential closing of stations to today, we're talking about street takeovers. There really isn't a day where you can't turn on the local news every night and see something about a street takeover or about street racing within our community throughout the county. Certainly the most recent ones occurring on the 6th Street Bridge. Sometimes they're for show, but sometimes they can be deadly. So today we're going to hear from a number of panelists who see this from various different perspectives, from victims, from law enforcement, from the legislature, and then ultimately we're going to hear from you, the members of the community. To lead us in today's panel, I'm happy to introduce one of our newer commissioners, but certainly she is not new to leadership in our community, and that's Commissioner Irma Cooper. So with that, welcome this morning. We're looking forward to a great session, and I turn it over to Commissioner Cooper.
And Irma, it looks like you're muted. If you can unmute and start again.
Okay. Well, good morning, and thank you for joining us to learn about street takeovers and how they impact public safety. In recent months, Los Angeles County communities have been overwhelmed by individuals in modified vehicles, hanging out of vehicles, doing donuts, with hundreds of spectators cheering them on at street takeovers. These illegal events have involved criminal activity and have even resulted in individuals being killed. Assemblymember Adrin Nazarian will provide insight about California's legislators' efforts to address street takeovers with the legislative process and a pending bill that may become law that will be instrumental to mitigating the impact of street takeovers. Leadership from community-based organizations, Street Racing Kills, will then discuss how street racing and street takeovers sometimes results in the loss of life and the everlasting impact it has on victims' families. We will also hear from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department regarding the vast number of street takeover related calls for service, as well as the limitations the department has identified in addressing street takeovers. They'll also discuss plans for reducing the number of and the impact of street takeovers in our local communities. The California Highway Patrol will provide an understanding of the reasons that contribute to street takeovers and associated consequences, and will provide community members with safety suggestions if they impact by street takeovers. After speaker remarks and conversation, there will be an opportunity for our WebEx attendees to ask questions of the panel. If you have a question that comes to mind, simply raise your hand in the system and you will be in the queue to ask your question. If you would like to share your thoughts, experiences, or concerns about street takeovers, please feel free to submit a written public comment online. A link will be placed in the chat box for you to submit your comments. Community engagement and your feedback is a fundamental part of the Commission's work, and we hope to improve the relationship between the department and the residents of Los Angeles County. Although we've told you the names and titles of the panelist speakers, I invite each panelist to take 2 to 3 minutes to introduce yourselves, including your preferred pronoun and a little about your background if you wish. And after everyone has introduced themselves, then we will go into your 10-minute presentation. So without further ado, I will turn it over to our first panel speaker, Assemblymember Adrin Nazarian of District 46.
Thank you, Irma. And just to interject, we're still working to get Adrian online. So if we could just continue, he should be joining us soon. Lily, if you would like to take it from here with the introduction. And Lily, it looks like you're still muted. If you can just unmute yourself and start from the beginning.
Yes, my name is Lily Trujillo Puckett, and I am the founder and executive director of Street Racing Kills.
Sergeant Michael Downing, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, good morning. I'm Sergeant Michael Downing, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, Traffic Services Detail. I've been with the Sheriff's Department for just over 22 years, and I oversee our Traffic Services Detail unit that oversees traffic enforcement and throughout the Los Angeles County.
Officer Baldonado.
Good morning, everyone. Officer Baldonado here with the California Patrol. I am assigned here to our Southern Division office based out of Glendale. I did start off my career in Central Los Angeles, which is kind of close to the Staples Center. I'm sorry, the Cryptocurrency Center, whatever it's called now. I oversee the Street Racing Task Force for LA County with our grant. The real heroes are the ones that are boots on the ground doing these task force details. So we'll go into more detail of that. I've been on the department about 15 years, a short 15 years. As you know, this is a nationwide epidemic with the illegal street racing and takeovers, and hope to, enlighten a lot of people and welcome the answers for the general public. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, we'll go ahead and start with our presentations. Lil, we'll start with you.
Okay, okay, thank you so much. Well, thank you everyone for being here today and to all our listeners. As I say, I'm the founder and executive director of Street Racing Kills. I started Street Racing Kills right after my daughter passed away to a street racing crash back in December 7, 2013. I was speaking at my first school 5 months later. And after that, I kept going. I kept going, uh, just trying to raise this awareness or something that was there, but at the same time, it was not much heard of. Um, but I did. I continue working, and I continue going to schools and creating programs as many as I could, just to get these kids, so at least mentor them before they will graduate high school. Um, we have scholarships, a Respect the Road program, which is amazing. We call one that's called the Fast and Fatal, just to get attracted after school programs, everything that we could. Uh, Partnerships with Irwindale, the racetrack, to give an alternative diversion as well. However, not even in my wildest dreams, I thought it was going to get as bad as it has gotten. I knew it was going to be bad, but not like it has. Unfortunately, a lot of people are dying and have died, and my heart really hurts every time I see something that has happened. I see a takeover gone wrong. I see someone getting hurt. I see someone going to jail. I see the parents crying, and I know exactly what I have been through. I know exactly what they're feeling, and I know how much is 100% preventable. I appreciate so much the street racing task forces that go out every day to try to stop this, and they're doing their best with their strategies, with their training. I think we all kind of know each other at this point, and it is amazing how much everybody's trying to do something about it. The bills like AB3 that everybody went through, where they will be taking their license away. However, we have to wait 2 more years for it to be in effect. And I'm sure there'll be others talking about the bills that are coming up that Street Racing Guilds is supporting. However, there's still, I think, a lot of work to do, but there is at the same time a lot of work being done that I see. With Street Racing Guild, we provide a lot of education as much as we can. And because the problem being so big right now, we don't have any problems actually getting into the schools. Actually asking us, and we're happy to already been working for this for almost 8 years since my dad passed away, to have the table set, to have all the programming available for reckless driving.
Well, thank you. Now, let's hear from Sergeant Michael Downing, who is with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, Risk Management and Traffic Services.
Good morning. Since 2020, 2020, the Sheriff's Department has handled over 3,000 calls for service for street racing and street takeovers. And that's throughout all of Los Angeles County and the jurisdictions that we handle. And just to see the increase over since 2020, we had 860 calls for service countywide. In 2021, we had 1,380 calls for service. And so far to date, we've had 838 calls for service this year. So you can see it jumped during COVID. And this year we're on track to meet or exceed last year's calls for service. And it's throughout Los Angeles County that we deal with it. A lot of it is in the South Bay area where it seems to be more prominent than other parts of the county. For the most part, it's up to our station patrol deputies to handle the calls for service. And that's on top of their calls for other services. So routine calls that they have to handle, emergent calls they have to handle. And on top of that, deal with the racing calls that usually happen later in the night or early morning hours. And whether it's a residential community or commercial area, it just depends on what city it occurs in. Currently, we have some of our contract cities that will pay for extra patrol for street racing. We use our Office of Traffic Safety grant to provide street racer or street takeover operations throughout the year. That's usually conducted during the summertime. We work on training our deputies with the highway patrol on street takeovers, modified vehicles, so that they're trained on how to identify modified vehicles and what kind of citations they can issue and what kind of enforcement they can do. We're currently working with other agencies in LA County to conduct street racer operations. We work with the Highway Patrol a lot. We've worked with Los Angeles Police Department, Long Beach Police Department, and other local agencies, depending on what station's handling the calls for service. And it's been an ongoing issue since I've been in patrol. I've been doing street racing for over 19 years, where I've had to working with enforcement or on the backside of it, handle the traffic collisions that stem from them. A lot of the fatal traffic collisions that we deal with, it's not so much the drivers that get injured or killed. It's when the cars lose control and go into the bystanders or the spectators is where we see our most fatalities for street racing calls and our most injuries. And if you watch social media on a regular basis, you can see it every weekend, every night, that people are posting videos of takeovers, and you'll see the people walk into the middle of the intersection and get hit by the car. You know, the majority of that goes unreported unless it's a severe injury or a major collision between vehicles. A lot of those times we don't receive calls for service on collisions or even know that people have been hurt or injured. We're currently working on training, getting more deputies trained to help combat the issue and preparing for the holiday season, where takeovers seem to pick up more. We're planning on several operations with other agencies and trying to do joint operations again with the California Highway Patrol and LAPD to address the issue in the south part of the county where we have it the most. We also make recommendations to cities on what they can do to street design, similar to Compton, putting in the bot dots over the last couple of months to see if that would help. On how we can do enforcement. If it's a busy night with calls for service, a lot of the stations are short-staffed and don't have the resources to address all the calls for service that we get. Due to the large number of people that show up at these street takeovers, we're looking at some of the takeovers have 200-300 people, hundreds of cars show up, and a station can't handle that by themselves. You know, if they have limited resources for staffing it on a night, you may have 1 or 2 deputies that drive in to deal with a street takeover, and the best they can do is just try and push them out and crowd control. You know, try and get them to leave as safely as we can, but we really can't do much as far as enforcement goes due to being outnumbered basically by the spectators and vehicles versus 1 or 2 deputies that have the handle the call for service. Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you, Sergeant Downing. Now we'll hear from Officer Chris Baldonado of the Street Takeover Task Force with the California Highway Patrol.
Hi, good morning, all. How's my audio? Good?
Yes.
Very cool. Okay, so again, thank you all for providing the forum for this arena to talk about illegal street racing and sideshows. So we created Task Force back in 2016, where, as you know, the problem of street racing dates way back, way back. It's becoming a problem. It has become a problem only because of the illegal activity associated with it. So again, through the California Office of Traffic and Safety, the Highway Patrol wrote a grant, and this grant enables the department to have more resources and funding to combat this problem. I've worked with Ms. Trujillo a lot for years now, and she has a heartbreaking story, and that's why we do what we do. If you can imagine, you know, for us, we're already busy handling crashes, handling enforcement, where we have this illegal activity where people do illegal takeovers, right? And what they do is they'll go out, and it's not everyone, but what they do is they'll go out on freeways and highways and stop traffic. They'll block all lanes and do whatever activity they're doing along the freeway. Now, the freeway is pretty much an aorta for traffic, right? So let's say, for instance, there's a crash, and a lot of people don't realize who's back behind that. You may have an ambulance transporting someone, transporting 11 to the hospital. Now what? Now they're stuck in gridlock because of this. So again, this problem was dated years and years back. We've already had task forces already doing this, but it became an issue where we decided to write a grant. And we wrote the grant, and you know, all these other issues are worthy of it, but we were afforded it in LA County especially. So to give you a brief synopsis of what we do, we are tasked with training approximately 200 plus officers and deputies, and we work side by side with the LA County Sheriff's Department. You know, just like Sergeant Downey had mentioned, we're in this together, and we're going to combat this and to prevent things from happening to other families like the Trujillo family. So we've conducted in just about 2 years over 200 enforcement operations. Now this is something that's sporadic. Our team members, to give you too much, we are deployed as soon as we hear of a takeover. You know, all the way from allied agencies telling us to eyes in the sky. If we hear something, we'll do something. Social media is a big part, plays a huge role in the sense that we have guys and gals, officers, just monitoring social media and seeing where these takeovers will happen. Because people like to post stuff. You know, they want to say, hey, come meet at whatever intersection. And with that, in the past 2 years alone, we've issued over 3,600 citations for these activities. We've conducted over 800 arrests associated with this. And like you mentioned before, Ms. Cooper, that the Assembly Bill 2000, now AB3, that allow the suspension of licenses. So this penalties are getting stiffer and stiffer because we're not seeing a trend where it's de-escalating. You know, we're seeing still the rise of it. They're getting smarter, trying to be more elusive, but that's why we have our training of these officers and deputies. We've impounded over 800 vehicles, and that's just a small tip of the iceberg. I think back in the day with Ontario PD, they used to crush cars, to ping them on the violation. That might be the route. We don't know, but I totally get that need for speed, right? And what didn't help too, that franchise of movies, Fast and the Furious. That, I mean, granted, it's Hollywood, but when you're talking to a teen who just got their license, this is like glamorous for them. Running away from the cops, that thrill. They don't see the consequences. They don't see the end story, like Miss Trujillo losing her daughter. How heartbreaking would that be if your loved one, were hurt, right? Or prevented from getting to a hospital because of an illegal takeover. To show progress, the grant was only for Denali County. We kind of shared it with Northern California now, but good news is that it's going to be statewide. So guess what? The Highway Patrol, border to border, all throughout California, are going to have extra funding and training to stop this action. There are alternatives. Like you mentioned before, Irma Speedway. It's a great place to take it to the track. You know, if you really have a fast car and you really have skills, take it to Irwindale Speedway, or you pay, I think they call it Thursday Night Thunder, and you pay like $40, I think, admission to be able to race legally and safely. You know, they have certain safety precautions there. They have ambulances, emergency technicians in case something goes wrong. They're to take care of you, and it's fun. They have for that that need to do burnout, to do donuts, to these sideshows. They have a burnout box, brand new built. You know, we were just there a couple weeks ago, just kind of checking it out and seeing, you know, these drivers getting their fix, so to speak, right? But doing it legally. So I think there's a lot of other venues in which to do this safely. Um, Unfortunately, there's going to be more families like the Trujillos that are going to lose loved ones and to be hurt because of it. I mean, you've seen the videos. I mean, people are in the middle of this you know, sideshow, taking video of themselves and basically publicizing it or showing it on social media. So that in itself is, you know, why take, you know, a place like Broadway or Main Street, downtown LA, to combat that? This is a growing problem, and I think that the voices with obviously our legislature, you know, we can only do so much. You know, we're so understaffed, just like the deputies in LA County, LAPD. We have our hands full. And for something to be added to the pot, and like, you know, Sergeant Downing has said, for the pandemic, like COVID, I think that kind of incubated all this tension, right? And people decided they just want to go out. And what we did see is obviously with lighter traffic on our freeways, we did see an increase in people going 100 plus miles an hour. You know, we just saw the stats go through the roof. We're like, what's going on? Well, because you're seeing a freeway that's wide open and people want to push the limits on their vehicle. And so it's just a lot of different factors. But I'm pleased to say that, you know, we are getting more funding through, you know, the need from the general public. And I'm sure the community is just fed up with it, you know, and so are we. And again, I was young at one point, and I understand that need, but there are venues, places to do it, you know, where it's safe, and we will offer that to you. And I welcome anyone to come out, you know, obviously in this forum at the end of this session, of the Q&A part, to ask any questions. This is your time to ask. You know, not many times you get, you know, a representative from each department, not only law enforcement, but legislatures and an affected family member to come speak your mind. You know, this is where to do it. We want you guys to be safe. We want you guys to have fun, but not at the cost of the lives of others. It's not worth it.
Irma, it looks like you got muted.
Thank you, Officer Baldonado. I see that we have Assemblyman Nazarian present now. Good morning.
Good morning, Irma. Thank you for having me. It's nice to join all of you. Apologies, early on I was having trouble getting connected. But Lily, it's also great to see you again. Wanted to just say very quickly, thank you for including me. Thank you for making this an important discussion issue. Thank you very much to Officer and Sergeant Baldonado and Downing, respectively, for their work on this. This issue came to my attention back in 2017 when I was invited by the security detail at PCH, I'm sorry, CHP, to discuss certain community-related issues. And in that time, the top brass of CHP asked me to watch a video with them, which was about the sideshow issue. And I became very intently aware from that meeting on of everything associated with this criminal activity. And so I started drafting legislation to try to address this growing needs. First and foremost, just want to point out, you know, as crime evolves, the need for the appropriate law commensurate to the activity of the criminal activity needs to evolve as well. Right now, where the legislature is in a place that is constantly trying to unwind and take back a lot of the or reform a lot of the laws from the 80s and 90s that had placed many individuals in prison and jail. And given all the changes over the course of the last 15, 20 years that we've witnessed with the federal government coming in as well, there's been a need to make certain changes. But unfortunately, in this mindset, we've also been slow at evolving and putting onto the books laws that would address the criminal activity that is also evolving. So I think it's going to be critical for all of you to continue to work with my colleagues and in the legislature to make sure that you're bringing to their attention how these changes in criminal activity are impacting all of us in society. Two, the act itself of the exhibition of speech shows is in itself extremely dangerous. It's taken many lives, and it's been a it's also given the brazenness of the act, because something that started in open spaces, or for Oakland Port, where as the officers both explained, we've always had a speeding issue, but this specifically, the sideshow, the contest issue, has kind of evolved over the last maybe 10-15 years. And what started out as something that would take place in open spaces has now become brazen enough to one-up one another, closing down bridges, closing down main arteries, doing it in the middle of traffic, rush hour. And in Los Angeles, it's always rush hour. So you do that at around 6, 7 p.m., you're completely shutting down a segment of commuters' ability to traverse and get back home to their families. But what this act also entails is a marketing ploy for strengthening the outreach capability of some of these criminals that then are involved with much more severe, heinous crimes, whether it's selling stolen weapons, ammunition, and or using this as a way of gaining notoriety and selling drugs. And I'm sure the officers here can speak to this much better than I can. You have firsthand experience. But when I saw the extent of the damage that was being caused, I introduced the bill in 2018 to approach this issue with a certain degree of severity. It was a bit too severe, and so it was held in Public Safety Committee in the Assembly. And then from there on, though, as more of my colleagues gained awareness of these issues, we began working on a series of legislation that incrementally increased addressing these issues. I most recently had a bill, AB 2546, that would not allow this activity to take place on private properties as well, which unfortunately got held in the Senate Appropriations Committee. I'm sorry, in Senate Public Safety, and it was transferred over to Senate Transportation, and it never was acted upon there. So I would encourage all of you to continue to push forward on multiple approaches of allowing law enforcement to have greater ability to address these issues, whether on public or private properties, because law enforcement does need to also have the tools to address this ever-changing criminal activity. I'm happy to answer questions or take a few questions, but thank you very much for bringing this issue forward and giving it the spotlight that it deserves. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblyman Nazarian, Leal, Sergeant Downey, and Officer Baldonado. This is clearly a complex public safety issue that requires law enforcement, proactive traffic safety enforcement, along with collaboration with the community stakeholders to reduce the likelihood of illegal street takeover activities. Now, these are the types of efforts that residents need in order to ensure their communities are safe. Before we jump into the questions from the public, I like to ask the panelists a few questions myself. Lil, I did get a chance to view your website and your programs, which really stood out to me, were your educational programs to the youth. Could you describe a little bit more in detail what type of education you are doing with our youth and some of the outcomes?
Oh, well, definitely, yes. So what we did is we focused, of course, on the reckless driving, subject, by doing reenactments, by bringing LASD Motorsports, which is an amazing sheriff's organization that takes them to the track. So they'll bring their racing Tesla, and they will bring a crash car, of course. We'll always bring actually California Highway Patrol PIO that they'll let us borrow so they can come with us. I've met Officer Baldonado plenty of times, and they do the street racing task force do collaborate with us to come to the schools and to help us to have also what they see out there so they can talk to the students as well. We bring victim speakers, like I'm one of the victim speakers, of course, and I share the loss of my daughter, and we want to touch them by the heart. We want to play with their heartstrings so we can make a difference in their hearts, and share also all the things that they can do to respect their lives. Like in Valentina's case with my daughter, she was sleeping in the back seat. Her girlfriend saw the whole thing happen and she didn't say anything. So we teach them how to speak up, how to defend themselves. And what happens if you get challenged to a street race? What happens if you get invited to a takeover? What are the consequences? What can happen? How are you putting your life at risk? And what happens if you are the one that wants to go out there? We don't tell them to hate the car culture, but we teach them how to the education of what the real car culture is, and not to bring it down, not to, because this is what's happening right now. The car culture is not what it used to be. It should be still stand up for what it is and not destroy it, because that's what's happening right now. They're destroying the car culture. That's what everybody says. So by educating them, by going there, we do it as an assembly, we do it as a high school project, and we do it as an after school project as well. So however the high school will let us come in, we will do it and we'll come in. Even if you just want us for lunch hour in the cafeteria, wherever you can bring us in, we will come in and offer also scholarship for those that are not, they don't have the means to pay for driving school. We have a scholarship in honor of my daughter, but in order to get that scholarship, you do have to take basically a street racing and reckless driving course, and the essay will be on that, on different people that have passed away. And our goal is just to make sure we prevent any parent from losing a child from something 100% preventable. And I believe that really with the street racing task forces helping us out there really makes a difference when they come in and they talk to the students as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Assemblyman Nazarian, can you describe some measures that can be taken to deal with some of the limitations that Officer Baldonado and Sergeant Downey has spoken about in terms of legislation? You know, they talked about being short of staff, not having the resources for, traffic enforcement.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I was trying to address some of those issues actually in my comments when I said that the law has to stay paralleled and current with the evolving criminal activity as well. On the budget side, that's a different issue. So there's two sides to this. There's the funding and allowing to have the resources necessary to address this concern, which also entails the appropriate training, the sharing of information. Some of the videos that have been captured or some of the undercover work that has been done was multi-agency. And so it's been phenomenal seeing to what extent information has been gathered. And I say this based on some of the things I saw from 4 or 5 years ago. But then there's the law aspect of all of this, which requires legislative action. Are the laws in place to give the officers and the units on the field the capability to address these issues and be able to either stop something from happening or knowing and being aware when something is going to happen and having the laws on their side to be able to apprehend or be able to stop this activity from growing. You know, also let's not forget lawlessness or criminal activity is like water. If you stick your finger in the dam to cover one hole, it's going to find its way coming out from another hole someplace else. So that's why I keep saying that, repeating that it's also necessary for us to stay vigilant and evolve with the changing activity as well, and change the laws according to that also. The only thing I would say is that it's critical for us not to also overreact sometimes to some of these circumstances, and provide ourselves with enough of the capability, provide law enforcement enough of the capability to address these issues and go to the root of the matter. Because most of these folks are bystanders. Most of these folks that gather at these events are the market where a few of the criminal individuals and the enterprise behind it is trying to use to sell their product or to grow their numbers of audience so that they gain more notoriety. So it's I think it's going to be critical for us to make sure that we're addressing the root cause of these issues also, and apprehending the individuals that are causing quite a bit of a impact to society.
Thank you. Sergeant Downing, you mentioned street design. Can you explain a little bit more about how that will prevent some of the issues with the street takeover? And then the second part, I want you to address, if you had a budget that was unlimited, what type of items would you request first to stop some of this street racing?
The street design, several cities have gone in and put what they call bots dots, so the little circles into the roadway. So Compton did it a couple months ago, and a couple of the major intersections that have takeovers. And the idea is that if you put the dots or bumps into an intersection, it can help prevent vehicles from doing donuts. So if they start spinning out in the middle of the intersection, the dots can make it where they lose traction, or it causes the car to bounce off the roadway a little bit. And it makes it where it's not practical to do donuts in those intersections. I know the city of Paramount also has it in a couple of their intersections. Some cities have looked at changing the roadway design to put more center medians between traffic lanes to make it more difficult for cars to take over an intersection. They've looked at putting in surveillance cameras in intersections that can help obtain license plate information and video of the takeovers that law enforcement can use at a later date to identify vehicles and violators. So some cities have put in roundabouts, have become more of a popular thing recently, and larger intersections, larger communities, that helps reduce speed in a lot of the areas and basically eliminates the intersection altogether. And as far as if we had an unlimited budget, I think a lot of it just comes down to manpower and vehicles for stations to effectively go in and control an intersection. When we've done operations with patrol, LAPD, Long Beach PD, we've had upwards of 30 to 40 officers out for a large scale in South County. And you need those resources, air support to help track vehicles when they leave, officer to help deal with the large crowds that we come across. And it's not just one intersection for a night and then they're done. So a lot of times they go out to one intersection, do their takeover, law comes in, they all leave the area, but then they may move to another city, another intersection in the city. And so you need multiple officers to be able to deal with multiple intersections at the same time. And that's why the resources are a priority to deal with the takeovers, because you never know how big of a group you're dealing with and where they're going to go next. We've done operations where they leave LA County and they run into Orange County, or Orange County has an operation and they push them back up into LA County, or they go from city to city. So that's why the manpower is the most important resource realistically.
Okay. Thank you. Lil, you had your hand up. Did you want to make a comment on that?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Actually, I just want to talk a little bit about how, for the public to know also that a lot of cities are creating their own ordinances, like Lakewood, Paramount, and other cities are emulating them as well. So while we're waiting for all these bills to come through and the new ones that are coming and the other ones to start being active, a lot of cities like the city of Lakewood, and I can read it to you right now. It says the ordinance makes it a crime with a fine of $1,000 to be a spectator at a street race or a takeover. So they are bringing different cities are emulating and said, okay, so we're going to go ahead and have our own ordinance, and then everybody's trying to emulate the same thing in the meantime. So I just wanted to, as a community in your city, you can also reach out to your city council and say, what can we do? Is there an ordinance? Can we emulate that ordinance so we can protect our cities as well? And other things that we do with street racing kiosks, that we educate also the communities. We do community events and we tell them this is what's being done, so they don't feel like, oh my God, there's a takeover, nobody's doing anything about it. We tell them there is the California Highway Patrol, the Street Racing Task Force, the LAPD. The only reason why they're not at your house yet or at your neighborhood is because they are putting out another fire. They're also going someplace else. That's why.
Okay. Officer Baldonado mentioned about social media. I guess I'm dating myself. I guess when I came up, it was just strictly, street and drag racing is what they called it. But now, I guess with the invention of social media, these kids can get hundreds of people showing up within 5 minutes. So, Lil, do you have any suggestions in terms of what family members can talk to their children about using social media to participate in these activities?
And definitely, to be honest with you, yes, I've gotten calls about that with parents telling me, "Oh my God, my teenager or my young adults is I can see that he's enhancing his cars. I know that he's leaving late at night. I know they're always on social media." So we always tell them, share as much as you can. What you're gonna what happens if you lose that person? If that person ends up going to jail, and I'm just trying to touch them by their heart, and what I always tell, these young adults, don't make your mother cry, but I think as parents, we do have to start checking what they're doing with their cars. Are they enhancing their cars? What are they doing? And of course, just check their social media. But they are very, very intelligent. I think even they can, they know what they're doing. They can manage social media better than we can, right? So as the much we can do is have that talk with your child. Have that talk, and if I even tell them, you want them to reach out to us, we have plenty of people at Racing Kills that can talk to them as well.
Thank you. Officer Baldonado, have any of the automobile industries reached out to you in terms of the modifying of these vehicles, or how you can help you to identify these vehicles that have been modified?
Absolutely. So car manufacturers, they'll produce the cars and manufacture the cars to spec, right? Meaning that there are no vehicle violations, and that kind of varies from state to state. So manufacturers, big manufacturers like Ford, Chevy, you name it, when they come in California, they're within regulation. As soon as they modify it, that's out of their hands, right? So a lot of people will say, "Well, I bought it like that." Well, you assume ownership, and if you read the fine print, if you buy a car from a used car lot or Craigslist or OfferUp, wherever the case is, you assume responsibility. Down to a minor infraction like window tint. People tell me all the time, "No, that's factory," and no, that's not. It's not factory. So I'll show them there's a piece of film on the window. Down to exhaust, right? There's a certain decibel that the vehicle cannot emit more than, and also it's emissions control issue. So if we stop a car for modifications, it's a heavy, heavy ticket. Not only do you have to pay the fine, but you have to revert that car back to spec, back to its original status. And then you go to a referee where they make sure you've done that and you pay the fine there too. So it's basically taking the allowance away from these individuals that have put a lot of the time and money into. So that's why, reverting back to the crushing cars, you do that, you're basically taking that vehicle away, and a vehicle to that thing to get them to stop doing the shoe racing. So we do try to reach out to some of these car clubs, and there are two different sides to it, right? You'll have the guys that are motorhead, so to speak, that are car enthusiasts, where the people that are doing these illegal activities are giving them a bad name. So we'll go to a car show, right? On the other weekend, we were in La Habra doing a car show in Whittier, and La Habra rather, and the same thing. They're fed up with it too. They're fed up with being synonymous with that name of illegal street racing, and it's just anyone with the fast car, they're doing something illegal. It's not the case. It's not the case. So they're trying to differentiate that, and we know that. So we urge the public to help us out. And if you see something, say something. Going back to social media, we saw people want the instant now. Social media could be good, it could be bad. Depends on how you use it, right? Bad in the sense that people want that instant, "Oh, you're doing a selfie, look what I'm doing illegally." That's the bad. The good is that they're posting it and we're trying to catch them. So once it's out there, it's out there. And we rely on a lot of intelligence from even family members saying, "Hey, you know what? I know this particular individual," and we'll get tips, so to speak. So it's round the clock. It's a problem that we're fighting, but we need everyone's help, especially the public.
Thank you. My next question, I'm going to address it to all of the panelists because it's really important, and we've been hearing a lot about this. And correct me if I'm wrong, the Fast and Furious series. I'm hearing that the movie industry has not responded. But it is known that a lot of these youth are imitating some of the things that goes on in that movie. And getting back to what Sergeant Downey said, they're outmanned. And I remember seeing one of those movies. I don't remember which one it was, but I know when they came out of the garage, it was like hundreds of vehicles leaving at the same time. The police didn't know which vehicle to follow. So please give me your insight about what the movie industry could do to help this problem.
Before Officer Baldonado starts, I just want to say thank you very much for bringing awareness to this issue. I need to excuse myself for another meeting, so
Okay.
thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
All righty.
So regarding the movie industry, I think what they could do is I get it. You have a storyline, you have something to portray, you want a box office hit. What they could do, especially if it revolves around street racing and that that limelight, do a PSA, do a public service announcement, maybe before and after, letting them know the dangers of it, letting them know that you see that no animals were hurt during the production of this movie. Do kind of the same thing along lines. Say, you know what, take it to the track, and do it safely, and do some type of PSA to give some credibility to the fact that this is just a movie. It's not real, but what is real out there are, again, families like the Trio family, that people have lost a loved one, and giving them an alternative and something positive, because I know that if what I've dealt with, in the car club community, if you go at them right away with, enforcement and citations, whatever the cases, and we have to do that, but there's also the educational component of it. That's key. I think that's where you will actually make an impression versus I'm going to take your car, I'm going to take your allowance away. If you do the education part, like what I do as a PIO, I'll go to high schools, I'll go to a car meets, we'll go to car shows and do the education part of it. And I think that'll stick more if they know, hey, there's an alternative. Hey, you know what? I didn't realize what I've been doing is illegal, and the risk that I'm taking, it's not worth it. So I think the movie industry should do some type of PSA at the very end of maybe the movie, or even prior to, within the credits. And I'd be more than happy to talk to them about that.
Great, thank you. Lil?
Yeah. So the Fast and Furious has done a couple of PSAs, but not when the movie is gonna show. They did one last year, um, but like I said, it wasn't like right after or before the movie. And on Angelino Heights, they're very upset right now because they're filming Fast and Furious 10. So same thing, this is exactly what everybody's asking. And I agree with this doing some kind of disclaimer before. And at the end, why not dedicate it? So instead of them leaving like, oh my God, we're gonna go do this because they're all empowered, right? Because they see these cars going so fast and doing everything. Why not dedicate at the end the movie to those who have passed away to street racing, including, of course, Paul Walker, including all of us that have lost someone. Leave them at the end with emotion that this can happen, and this is in honor of all of those that have passed away to street racing, instead of leaving it to and of course start with a disclaimer. And another show is a Street Outlaws, and one of their main guys just passed away not even a month ago while filming. So I do agree that these shows like Street Outlaws, I just cannot believe they're out there, and they're allowed, but regarding the Fast and Furious, I feel like exactly that's what it should be. And why not these actors that have so much power, and these young people that look up to them personally, do a PSA directly to the young people. I mean, I think that would be, I have asked them for a long time with no response. I have actually tried to reach out to Vin Diesel, to The Rock, to all of those. I found a company that said they were trying to help me, and that we were going one by one, and however they were trying to do it, I don't know who they were reaching directly, but we tried. So I tried throughout the years. I hope with what's going on right now, they do help. And I do have to say that not everybody it's influenced by the Fast and Furious. It's something that would be crazy for all of us to say every which one. On my diversion program, I do have that question on my survey, and some say maybe, some say okay, yes, I'm young, and some say not at all. I am my own person. You know how these guys are. I am. That's not going to. Oh my God, all that stuff is all fake. That does not influence my driving behavior at all. So I think we have a little bit of everything. It does influence, but not everybody.
Great, great. Sergeant
Yeah,
Downey, any
I would
comment?
agree with it that I think the PSAs prior to movie releases would be a good idea because when the movies start to come out or when the movies are released, that's when we see an even larger uptick in calls for service because the kids they go to the movies, see the stunts, new stunts in the movies, and they go out and try and perform them on the streets. We see our calls for service for street racing crashes go up after the movies come out. And like we said earlier, that I've been doing this for 19 years with street racing, and that was at the beginning of the Fast and the Furious franchise. And that was where you would get 100, 200 street racers, just like in the movies, that would go out, race, meet up, race again. So the problem is not really ever going to go away, I don't think. It's just a matter of getting the message out there that there's safer places to do it. And I think the PSAs would be great for that. And I think it would be the same thing with the social media platforms where you have all these challenges that come up. So people try and go out and do it. The one recently in LA where the guy's jumping the Tesla down the roadway. And then others tried performing that stunt after watching that on social media. So I think even social media should take a bigger play in it and conduct PSAs on the safeties and that a lot of the stunts aren't acceptable in the public roadways.
Thank you. Now we would like to open this up to live question and answer portion. Jennifer, are there any community questions for the panel?
Yes, there are. And as a reminder, to ask a question live, you do need to be logged into WebEx. When you are in WebEx, raise your hand and that will put you in queue to be called on to ask your questions. So if you're ready, Chair Cooper, I can go ahead and get started.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay, and just as a
Can you hear me?
reminder, I do, yes, thank you, Ingrid. And as a reminder, this is for community questions. If you would like to submit public comment, please do that online. And Ingrid, please go ahead with your announcement in Spanish.
Sure. Si necesita traducción a sus preguntas que tenga, por favor diga la palabra en español y alguien le dirá cómo proceder. Gracias.
Awesome, thank you very much for that, Ingrid. And the first question will come from the person logged in as East Los Angeles Chamber. If you can just acknowledge the unmute request that was sent to you, you should be able, okay, please go ahead.
Difficulties. I'm with the East Los Angeles Chamber of Commerce and also with the East LA Coalition. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. So here's the situation with East Los Angeles. We've been inundated with lowrider car clubs. We have a gang issue here in East Los Angeles. We have the street taken over. They're operating on 3 wheels. They're dropping their lifts up and down. So we're asking for law enforcement and legislatures to protect the business interests and the safety of the community and write stronger laws. And we had this problem back in 2018, and CHP, his name was Captain Maderas, he came down 2 weekends in a row with 4 motorcycle patrols, didn't know nonsense. He ticketed and told, and they got the message. So I feel that we're patronizing car club. I'm an I'll be full disclosure, my name's Eddie Torres. I grew up in East Los Angeles. I live in East LA. I'm an ex-gang member. I've done the low riding bit. We do not need to patronize people that are wasting our resources and draining the public safety and putting an unsafe condition on communities. I think we need to get serious.
And Thank you, Eddie. And if you could just conclude with what your question is for the panelists.
Yeah, the question is, can we make the issue of the lowrider unpermitted events with illegally modified vehicles an issue topic of discussion also?
Thank you. And panelists, I'm not sure if any of you would like to take that question.
Yeah, I can address it. Because I've done a couple operations in East LA in the City of Commerce for the lowriders with East Los Angeles Station. Their special enforcement team has been addressing the lowrider issue on Whittier Boulevard. They've been going out on almost weekly, every Sunday, to go out and write citations. They've been shutting down the boulevard, trying to clear out the traffic from the lowriders, the bystanders that show up. It turns into a family event on some weekends where you'll have thousands of people out there with families, food trucks, watching the lowriders, musicians out there. So East LA Station is doing what they can to deal with it on a weekly basis. And we've held joint operations with them, and we'll continue to do that and address the issues as the time goes on.
Thank you for that. Are there any additional answers to that question before we move on to the next one? Okay, I think we're ready. So caller user number 10, an unmute request has been sent to you. So if you can acknowledge that, it looks like your phone number begins with 562-879. And you do have to press, I believe it's *3 on your end to acknowledge that request. But okay, please, you're unmuted. Please go ahead with your question.
Yes, hi, my name is Ronnie. I live in Downey. And I was just wondering, is there any way possible that you guys could give more severe consequences? As a kid growing up in LA, that's the thing that stopped most of my friends, because I did partake in a lot of unlawful activities. But talking to our parents, sometimes that doesn't work. Seeing people die, sometimes that doesn't work. And I hate to say that. But consequences, severe consequences, that's what helps. Take these cars away permanently, months, throw them in jail. Tickets, they could always pay them. Doing, fixing the streets or putting those little speed bumps, that's not going to work. Educating the kids, it works, but you're going to get like maybe 3 out of 10. That's my comment.
Okay, thank you. So if you could just restate your question, you're asking about more severe consequences. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you. And do we have anyone who would like to respond to that question?
Yeah, I agree. This is also Baldonado. Thank you for your comment. I share your concern. So I agree. It's different consequences. I mean, kind of all start off with citations, right? But like you just said, they'll just pay the fine and be out. Or even impounding the car. If it's just a single day impound, they'll pay the fine and be out again. So where do you draw the line? I mean, where is it where you'll make the most impact? I agree in the sense that you have to take what street racing composed of. What are sideshows composed of? The vehicle, right? If there's a way to impound the car for a longer time, longer duration, that might help curb the problem. We encounter, and I'm sure Sergeant Dunn can attest to this, that some of these guys aren't even licensed. So if you do suspension of a license, that doesn't stop them from getting behind a vehicle, right, and driving illegally. We see that all the time. People are driving unlicensed on a suspension or revocation. So that, where's the fix for that? But at the end of it, I think if you take away the vehicle, you take away that component of it, that'll hopefully curb some of these illegal sideshows and street racing. That kind of starts off with legislature too. All we do as law enforcement, we enforce the law. We see the law broken, we take action. It's up to the attorney's office and the judges to actually impose that or kind of decide what is the appropriate consequence for it. And I get it, even as a spectator, you can be fined as well. There are just certain components that'll comprise that an illegal street racing event, right? You'll need an audience for it. So, giving citations and infractions for that, for people just spectating, that also might help curb. I don't think there really is one specific answer. You have to change the culture. You have to change the culture, and you have to let these people know that the temporary gratification isn't worth the risk. So that's my comment.
Thank you for that. And would any other panelists like to chime in on that before we move to the next? Okay, it looks like Kathleen Goodrill. I've sent an unmute request to you, if you can acknowledge that. Okay, please go ahead, Kathleen. And I don't hear you speaking, Kathleen. If you have other applications on your computer open, like Microsoft Teams or Zoom, that could be using your microphone, but we are not hearing you right now. If you can go ahead and check that, we'll move on to the next caller user and come back to you, Kathleen. So we have call-in user number 11 is 2135. It's moved on my list. Okay. 451, if you can acknowledge the request to unmute, push *3 on your phone. Okay, please go ahead. Yes.
Hi, my name is Victor. I'm from Los Angeles, and I have several quick questions that I want to ask. The first is, can warrants be issued to confiscate vehicles known to be at these events? Anybody? Can you hear me?
We do hear you.
Okay.
So if you can restate your question one more time, that would be helpful to see if anyone has a response.
Can warrants be issued to confiscate vehicles known to be at these events? Spectators, drivers that are out there doing this. Can warrants be issued to confiscate their cars?
Okay, hold on just a second. So panelists, do we have that answer readily available for him before he moves on to his next question?
Yes, we can utilize a warrant issued by the judge or courts to seize a vehicle at a later date. Once we have identified the vehicle and have a witness to the takeover, we can go ask the courts for a warrant and seize the vehicle for up to 30 days.
Okay.
Next question.
Next question. Well, I have pictures of some of these cars, at least the license plates. And I was wondering, who do I turn in the information to? Who can I report the information to that I have?
It would be to your local agency or station that handles your area. You talk to the traffic office or traffic investigators or detective bureau.
Okay. I was going to ask, is there a mandatory term of impound for participation in these events? But you said 30 days. So I guess that takes that out. But what's the harshest penalty one can expect for participation or spectating at these events?
I would say jail time would probably be the harshest, depending on what the severity of it. But like Sergeant Daniel said, it could lead to something else. So all depends. All depends on, every case is different. So the harshest one, the fine, but jail time I think would be more so, in my opinion.
I agree. And how can I become more involved in this, because I'm sick of these events happening on my corner?
I would, it's power numbers, right? Just like with street racing, it's power numbers with these guys and gals doing these takeovers, power numbers with the community. The more you voice your opinion and don't think your opinion doesn't count, it doesn't fall upon deaf ears. Your local legislatures, council members, senators, they're there to help you out. And the more that they do, and that's why these AB bills, assembly bills are being drafted. Whether or not it sticks, it depends, But I think if, the community just bonds together, and says enough's enough. I think that being part of a group, being involved in the community, your local communities, everyone just bonds together. I think will flush these activities out.
Okay. Okay. Thank
I
you.
also
Did you-
believe, I'd like to say something. I also believe that if you go to city council and ask for an ordinance as well, as a community, you can also reach out to streetracingkills.org so we can actually come to your schools and mentor these future drivers before they get out there, before they get invited to go out there. We'll be more than happy to go to your local schools.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you
That's
very
all for
much.
me.
Okay, thank you, sir. And next we'll hear from Cerise Castle. Can you please acknowledge the unmute request? Cerise Castle, if you are, okay, there, it looks like you're unmuted. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
We do, yes.
Wonderful, thank you. Cerise Castle here, I'm with Knock LA. Now, I heard earlier that Sergeant Downing spoke briefly about roundabouts and the use of roundabouts in prevention of street racing. I'm wondering if there is any individual or collective effort on the parts of the organizations and departments here today to either promote roundabouts or seek roundabouts in some of these intersections. Thank you.
No, we haven't done any coordinated effort for it. That all falls on the individual city and the city engineering office on what they can reasonably do for an intersection. Roundabouts don't fix all intersections. I just know that's something that cities have put in depending on the size of the intersection. Like I said, the bot stots have been a new thing to look at depending on the size of it. I know the City of Commerce, after they had a street racing related fatality about 7-8 years ago in a commercial area, they put in large speed humps on the roadway to eliminate the vehicles basically drag racing in the commercial area. That seemed to help a lot, and that pushed the people out of that commercial area and prevented further street racing events.
Thank you for that. Does any other panelist want to chime in before we move to the next question? Okay, I think we're good. Kathleen, we'll try you again. A request has been sent. Kathleen. Okay, go ahead. Let's see if we can hear you. And we're still not hearing you, Kathleen. I'll go ahead and chat with you on the back end. So please take a look at your chat box. Next, we'll move to Trisha Codd. A request has been sent to unmute you, Trisha.
I have a question.
Awesome. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. To the Officer Baldonado, Baldonado. Have you guys attempted to look into a different alternative, such as meeting with the car clubs to find like a better solution? Maybe they would be able to help out the community, or to minimize the the street racing, or because in I don't want to say experience, because I really don't have any experience when it comes to street racing, but from what I've gathered, from other people, they don't have a place to do it. So what happens is they do it in the middle of the street. Whereas if there was I don't want to say a safe place, but if there was, in meeting with them, coming together, meeting in the middle, on how to go about doing it, not in the streets, but just someplace else that is away from the community. has any, you know, any of the officers, any of the departments met with some of these clubs is what I'm asking.
Thank you for your question. We have. We do a lot of, like I mentioned before, we do a lot of events at car shows. And the car shows, there are a lot of car clubs that meet together. And they voice the same concern. You know, they don't want to be associated with the illegal activities that we're currently talking about right now. So one place in LA County that's pretty prevalent that I know of, and they do it every Thursday, is Irwindale Speedway. And, you know, they have an 8th mile track where you can pretty much go down the drag strip and you race against whatever vehicle that has that, you know, whatever second that on the clock, whatever time that you want to race against. And I've seen Teslas, I've seen some muscle cars and whatnot. And then they also, like I said, they have a burnout box, and that's where people will drift. You know, that's the biggest thing right now, that when they block these intersections, these illegal takeovers, they'll do drifting, they'll do donuts, but in a safe manner. You're there, one car, you're surrounded by pillars, concrete pillars, and the audience can watch. So that's an avenue that in which they can do that. There's another one in Antelope Valley. I forget the name of it. But there's locations, not as many as we would hope. But I would like to see, you know, more funding actually go to that in the place where they can do it legally and safely. So yes, we are making contact with these car clubs. You know, they share information with us. You know, they tell us specific hot spots, so to speak. You know, if you're traveling within their section in your community and all you see are tire friction marks along the pavement, that's a known spot. So I think, you know, funding too is a big thing. I think Sergeant Downing mentioned it too. If I were to have a wish list, so to speak, I would say more funding for better equipment. You know, if we have more patrol cars for officers out there, more officers, more deputies, cameras at specific locations, because people always say, hey, you know what, pull out, did you have a, you know, see that crash on the freeway and is there a camera? Well, we don't have a camera for every mile of our highways out there. So if we had, you know, extra pair of eyes, you know, through surveillance, that'll help us curb this. And if these people are doing these activities, they know they're being watched, it probably might deter them from doing any more.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Any additional follow-ups to answer that one?
Yes, well, I would say that yes, I agree that we do need more tracks, and we do have a partnership with Irwindale. So what we do is in a diversion program. We do invite them to come to the track. We even give them free tickets to come to the track and go race LASD Motorsports, so they can go ahead and show off. We tell them how fun it is. I particularly don't like the smell of rubber. It actually it burns my eyes, but they love it, right? But I do love the barbecue truck that's out there where I can go get something. So we do go on Thursday Thunder, and we meet with them and with the California Highway Patrol, which they are there as well. We meet with them. We have a lot of fun. And the best thing I think that I have gotten is that when they go there and they see us and we're actually there, you see them, you get to talk to them, you get to see them in person. You know, these are people that have their car has been impounded and they took the course with us, and then we get to see them in person, and then they actually even email us and say, are you guys going to be there again? Can we go there again? And that's one of the things that we actually keep working with them. And definitely, you know, to given that you know, the alternative that they can take it to a track, like Officer Baldonado was saying, I think is great. And just talk to them. And I do have to say that some of them are just were invited and they went there. You know, these are parties on wheels, guys. I mean, that's why the people are going. You know, there's themes to it, and that's why they show up. However, I believe that with everything that's going on right now, that giving these places where to go and talking to them, and like saying going to these card meets, and you know, and steering them in the right direction, I think it's making a difference. And yes, definitely, I think some funding for more tracks would make a difference as well.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And next we'll move to Kenneth Carson. Kenneth, if you can acknowledge the unmute request that was sent to you. Kenneth Carson, an unmute request was sent to you. If you'd like to unmute yourself, please acknowledge that to ask your question. I'm not seeing any activity on that end, but we did get Kathleen called in, so let me find her. Kathleen, if you can be sure that your computer or anything like that that you have on is muted, and a request was just sent to your phone. If you can push *3 to acknowledge that unmute request, Kathleen. We're still working on both of these. So Kathleen, you would have to push *3 for your phone to be unmuted to acknowledge that unmute request. And Kenneth Carson, it looks like the same. You would need to acknowledge that. Unfortunately, we are running out of time though, and those were the last remaining questions. There are a couple of folks who had follow-up questions that have raised their hands, so I apologize. We can't get to that. We actually do have one additional, Commissioner Cooper, one additional new question. If you'd like me to try to take Anthony's question before we wrap it up, would you like that?
Yes, that will be fine.
Okay, and this will be the last question from Anthony Artry. If you can, okay, it looks like you're unmuted. Please go ahead.
Yes, good morning, everyone. There's been many times that you guys have mentioned that as you guys disperse and arrest and break up these, break up these street takeovers, they just basically move to other locations. So you're not real, in other words, you're doing a great job. Please don't get me wrong, but it's not solving. It's, in my opinion, it's putting a Band-Aid on something that needs stitches. How do we address that?
So I, not too long ago, was deployed with an operation, and you're right. As soon as they, it's a very structured operation on our end and as well as on their end. You have to understand that they have people in place that act as lookouts, right? And they relay to wherever that takeover is happening that, hey, the black and whites are coming, right? The police are on their way, whatever the case is. And it's amazing. You can YouTube the videos, but they spread like cockroaches, right? Like from the spectators all the way down to the people involved. And we try to, through eyes in the sky and through intelligence, try to find out who the main players are. And then you're right, here in LA County, I think we did an awesome job with the operations that we do with our ally agents, the LAPD and LASD, that we push them out. And it's funny because that during that one night operation, we flushed them all out of LA County. But you're right. Guess where they went? They went to Orange County and did the same thing. So we have a task force as well to help combat that. And hopefully, granted, we would like to catch them and let them know that, hey, we're going to impound your car, we're going to arrest you, whatever the case is, depending on the situation, that the party's over. And I've seen where, okay, the cops are everywhere and they're thinking like, okay, party's done. They don't want to take that risk anymore. So what is the real solution? We don't know. All we can do really is and unfortunately for us, it's reactive, right? The only proactive part that we could do are during the encounters that we have, like at car shows, car meets, presentations that we do, PSAs, and that's the only proactive approach. Other than on the tail end, the reactive is catching these guys and gals and then giving a stiffer penalty. So, we welcome all kinds of avenues where, we have a task force that are very welcoming as far as what suggestions and just, keeping up with the times and trying to nip it in the bud, so to speak, where we can prevent it from happening. As soon as we see a car gathering, we want people to call it in. And if we can, send a couple units down there to break it up without any incident, that's good. That's a good night.
Yeah, and I'd have to agree with Officer Baldonado on it that we do the best we can as far as enforcement on those nights, but a lot of it is reactive. And even though we don't necessarily get citations or arrests or vehicle impounds. If we can prevent the takeover from happening, it's a good night. And even on nights where we're have a task force out, joint task force with other agencies, we also coordinate amongst each other that, hey, we got intel they're showing up at this intersection, and if we go break that one up, then we coordinate to whoever else is out, hey, we broke up 100 cars here, they may be rolling to your city next, or the next intersection. So if we do that where we're kind of piggybacking off of each other with information and intel, we get social media posts from the car clubs too that we monitor, and we see that they're having a bad night because we're everywhere. So even by doing that and chasing them out from intersection to intersection, the ultimate goal is to prevent them from starting up to begin with. So if we can chase them out of the cities or chase them enough where they decide to go home early because they realize we're out there for enforcement, then it's a good night, as long as we prevent the takeovers and keep the community safe.
Thank you for that. And Commissioner Cooper, we'll turn it back to you as a reminder. If you would like to provide written public comment, there's a link that has just been placed in the chat. And if you had additional questions and we weren't able to get to you, please go ahead and submit those on those same form, and we'll do our best to help you out with those answers. So Commissioner Cooper, please go ahead. It looks like you're muted.
Los Angeles County continues to be impacted by illegal street takeovers week after week. Street racing overwhelmingly put their lives and others at risk and damage citizens' property. To reduce the likelihood of street takeovers, further action must be taken to ensure that our streets are safe. Clearly, the mitigation and elimination of street take cannot be affected without further discussion on this issue. I would like to bring this topic in front of the full Civilian Oversight Commission for further discussion and a review at a future meeting. We appreciate the panelists' expertise here today, and as community members, I urge you to provide written public comments with your thoughts about street takeovers. A link has been placed in the chat, and you can always visit ccc.la.gov to provide additional comments to the commission. We take your feedback very serious and into consideration when prioritizing our work. We like to thank you and also each of our panelists for sharing their thoughts, and to the community members for tuning in to this important conversation hosted by the Civilian Oversight Commission. The next special hearing on Deputy Gaines will be held next Friday, September the 16th, and the next commission meeting will be held the following Thursday, September the 22nd at 9 a.m. And we hope you can join us. Please visit coc.lacounty.gov to follow for more information. I will end with Take It to the Track. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day. This concludes our conference.